Hello and welcome back to my channel, Happy Girl Alaska. I am your girl, Terry, and if this is your first time here, welcome. So today's video is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a part of a series that I am calling Ask an Alaskan Realtor. And the purpose of this type of video is going to be to answer some of the questions that I receive from subscribers about the Alaska housing market. I am not an expert, but I reached out to a few experts who have agreed to participate in this interview, and hopefully this will kick off a series of more interviews to follow. Today, I have joining me none other than Michael King. And Michael King is a veteran when it comes to the real estate market. I'm going to go over his bio really quickly here. And then what we'll do is we will hand the floor over to Michael, and I will read off some of the questions that have come in from recent subscribers. Okay, so real quick, a little bit about Michael. Michael has been a licensed realtor in Alaska for almost 10 years. He is currently an associate broker of RMG Real Estate Network, Keller Williams Realty Alaska Group. He has lived in Anchorage for 16 years and completed over 400 real estate transactions in areas such as Anchorage, Wasilla, Palmer, Talkeetna, Chugiak, Eagle River, Soldotna, Kenai, and Homer. So you can believe he knows his stuff. And so without further ado, welcome, Michael. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to join us in this interview. So what I would like to do is if there's anything else you want to add or mention about your company before we get into the questions, I'll go ahead and hand it over to you to share that.
Absolutely. And Terry, thank you so much for having me here. I am proud to say that I've had my entire real estate career with RMG Real Estate Network at Keller Williams Realty. When I joined this organization about 8 years ago, actually 9 years ago now, over 9 years ago, we were a $28 million a year company. And last year, we were well over a $100 million a year company. And this year is our most amazing year ever. So I couldn't be more thrilled that I'm with such a talented group of professionals that I work with.
That is awesome. Yeah. Wow. So I'm telling you, you guys, I have complete confidence in the information that Michael is going to be sharing with us today, given his expertise. This is information that you can trust. And at the end of the interview, what I'll do is have Michael provide information on how you can get in touch with him or members from his team if you have any other questions or if you just want to connect with a real estate agent.
Excellent.
All right. So this is a question that I would say is the most common. And that question is, what is the best time of the year to begin your real estate search in Alaska?
You know, that is a great question. And I would actually say the best time of the year to begin the real estate search is actually in the early winter. So January, February, March. And the reason why I say that is because the busiest months for real estate transactions are June, July, and August. School is out. People are ready to move on to their next decision, if it's going to be moving out of state, moving up, oftentimes now moving down. And so chances are you're going to be likely making a real estate purchasing or sales decision in the summertime, actively engaging in that. And then, though, but you've done your homework and kind of see how the market is doing in the winter. Now, I'm making this assumption based on the fact that you don't have to be here at a specific time related to a job or a transfer, because then I can talk about that at another time. But yeah, if you have time on your side, definitely those summer months when it's green outside, when you can see what's going on with the landscaping, all of that is really important to a potential buyer. Yeah.
Awesome. And that totally makes sense because, as you mentioned, the landscape looks a lot different in the wintertime versus in the summer.
Absolutely.
So an area that may look a little, I don't know if desolate is the right word, but maybe it doesn't look as attractive during the winter time, once we start getting the green grass, leaves on the trees, the flowers start blooming, it totally transforms the area.
Yeah. Now, one thing I will share about this, though, is that oftentimes if you're looking to sell your house, and I know a lot of people that are watching you won't be here, but if you are watching and you're in the area, there's no harm in selling your house in the wintertime. Indeed, if you have to go, you have to go. And so what we often do is we'll ask the owner if they might have pictures of the yard in the summer, and we'll put those on. So even though their house may be on the market while it's snowing out, people can get an idea of what those green spaces look like in the summertime.
That's really good advice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll jump right into question number 2. And this question is kind of a mouthful here. So go ahead and address it however you feel comfortable. And that question is, can you describe the different upper, middle, and lower class areas in Anchorage, Eagle River, and Palmer, Wasilla?
Wow, that is a loaded question. So I'll start and I'll go say across the board. We'll do all upper, all middle, and then I'll say first time home buyer or entry level neighborhoods in those areas.
Perfect.
So when it comes to higher end real estate in Anchorage, Eagle River, and Wasilla, in Anchorage, we're going to be looking at areas in the south part of the city, maybe Prominence Point. Another area that's known for this is Stuckagen Heights. These are all really beautiful areas. If you're looking for a unique or one-of-a-kind home in the above $500,000 or even above $1 million, that's where you're going to end up being. Certainly the Upper Hillside, there are a lot of exclusive homes that are built there. In Eagle River, you could be looking at an area called Powder Ridge, or anywhere that's going to be up along the mountainside. Certainly going off of Highland Mountain Road as you get into Eagle River proper. That is a great area for people looking for higher end homes as well. And then in Wasilla, there's an area called Equestrian Heights or Equestrian Hills. And that is a great area, especially, and just like it says, if you're looking for horse property, that's a great location to be. Also, anywhere near Settlers Bay, which is on a golf course. People really like that area because of the fact that it's very close to the golf course, or sometimes the homes are right on the golf course. So those are the areas that you could start to check out when it comes to high end. In terms of the homes that are, say, in that mid $300,000 to $500,000 range, there's a lot of neighborhoods to choose from. In Anchorage, you could be on the east side of town. A lot of military like to live on the east side of town, near Town Square, which is the sort of Muldoon corridor. You could also be in Bayshore. That's another area, and the homes are in the high 3s, 4s, sometimes into the $500,000 range. There's also another really, really beautiful area that was a former gravel quarry. And so sometimes people are very interested in knowing what the soil composition is like. So there's really good drainage there. So that area is called West Park. So that's another great area to look at. And then one of our older, more established neighborhoods is going to be more like the South Addition, which is just off of downtown, Turnagain, that area. That kind of bridges two areas, the sort of mid-range and the upper range, because of the fact that it's so centrally located. So if you want to be close to the arts and entertainment, that's a great place to be. In Eagle River, Powder Ridge is also another great area for that. Powder Ridge has higher end and moderately priced homes as well. Also, there is an area which is off of Eagle River Loop. So that's a really popular turnoff that kind of loops around the downtown area. There's several neighborhoods there up the hillside and in the valley that afford, the second time home buyer or someone looking to move up. It's a great place. In the valley, there's a couple of areas. I'm going to focus on this segment for Palmer. So in the Palmer area, Palmer and Wasilla are both considered part of the Matanuska-Susitna Valley. And Palmer is really much more quaint. It's where the state fair is held. And so there are some great opportunities in some of the neighborhoods that are tucked away off behind the state fairgrounds in Palmer. And then finally, for you entry-level homeowners or people that might be looking to buy their first investment property, there is a lot of interest in investment property here, purchasing, renovating, and then reselling. Spenard is a wonderful area for that. It's up and coming. One of our local neighborhood housing initiatives called Cook Inlet Housing is really focused on building properties and building new single family and duplex and multifamily homes in that neighborhood. I think that's a great little entry area. Fairview might be another area you want to consider because of its proximity to being able to get onto the corridor to the Alaska Regional Hospital and to the Providence corridor, as well as the UAA campus, University of Alaska Anchorage and Alaska Pacific University. In Eagle River, there are some great entry-level neighborhoods. There's a whole area behind Walmart and, Fred Meyer, which is sort of one of our, more everything you could possibly want in a grocery store. So there's that area just off of the main drag off of Eagle River Road. And then in the valley, I love the Bogart area. So if you type in Bogart Street and, Google that, you can see where those neighborhoods and streets run, and there's some great opportunities in there. And then as you get further outside of the area of Wasilla proper, home values can tend to be more reasonable or more competitive. And so that's a great opportunity if you don't mind driving a bit. So that's my overview about this different levels of sort of home engagement that you can pursue depending on what price point makes the most sense for you.
That was a perfect overview. I have no idea how you remembered all of those talking points. Thank you so much for covering that. So I want to circle back to one of the areas that you mentioned for entry level. Mm-hmm. And it's just because, there are certain areas here in town that folks kind of recognize as maybe problem areas, so to speak, but I was wondering if you could maybe give a little bit more insight into that. So one of the areas would be Mountain View, and then sometimes you hear Fairview kind of lumped in with that. And I know you mentioned Fairview would be probably a good option for someone who wants to get into an entry level as far as owning real estate. Can you kind of speak to that a little bit as far as Fairview is concerned?
Absolutely. And you also brought up Mountain View, so I'll discuss both of those neighborhoods. So when I first arrived into the real estate industry about a decade ago, that was the beginning stages of when Cook Inlet Housing was really making inroads into improving the quality of the structures in those neighborhoods, and also taking some of the existing structures and working with those neighborhoods to be able to ultimately increase home ownership. Because a neighborhood has the ability to improve or sort of become more questionable as ownership approaches 50%, home ownership. And so Cook Inlet really endeavored to increase that above the 50% mark in Mountain View and Fairview. And I think that there's a lot of individuals who have benefited from that because they were essentially able to buy a brand new house in an area that was improving and also not necessarily be at the top of the market in terms of what they were paying for the house. And so we've seen that continue to happen. Cook Inlet Housing essentially has fulfilled its mission in those areas. And so now they're moving to other areas as well in the municipality of Anchorage. So while there are individuals who may have perceptions about those areas as being maybe less ideal, there are other individuals who have called those neighborhoods home for decades, and if not decades, for years, and they love those neighborhoods. We have local lenders who are now have actual physical banks or credit unions in those neighborhoods, which has really helped to further stabilize the working population that's there. We also have lots of really interesting restaurants and just really unique attractions in those neighborhoods. I think that really help to also bring about the kind of change that someone who might look at a neighborhood that's more transitional and feel comfortable about the fact that, okay, this is a place where I could call home.
Yes, I would agree with you completely, Michael. There's been a lot of strides to beautify those neighborhoods, and you can definitely see the difference there. A lot of improvements. Yeah, I was over in Mountain View. I actually made a video and I called it our quote unquote hood, but I showed some of the new housing developments that have gone up over there, and they look amazing.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
really do.
really nice homes.
Yeah. And one of the comments often that gets made is if you're coming from a very large city like Los Angeles or Chicago, places that have areas that might be definitely more concerning in terms of the sort of makeup or what's going on there. We don't have that same kind of comparison, even in areas that might be more transitional. And I think that that's kind of a refreshing comment that people make when they come and experience what it's like living in Anchorage versus wherever they come from in the contiguous United States.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Question number 3. And this has to do with the times that we're kind of living in right now, you know, the conditions or circumstances. Is now a good time to purchase real estate in Alaska, given the financial impacts we are seeing with COVID?
The short answer to that question is yes. And there's a lot of reasons why. We saw in our search engines, so we have a search engine called alaskahomesearch.com, and I have my own website through that as well.
Do you want to go ahead and give your website?
Yeah, it's michael.alaskahomesearch.com. So yeah, you can log on to that. And what I'll tell you about what's important about what websites you log on to is Alaska as a state does not report to the municipalities when a property sells what it's sold for. So it's important that when you search for a home, you need to search on a search site that is tied to our multiple listing service. Because if it's not tied to the multiple listing service, you could be looking at a home that's actually not on the market, that's already under contract, that's in foreclosure, but it's not ready to be sold. You need something that's tied to the multiple listing service main site and then syndicates to other sites. That's why sometimes when people go to sites like Zillow and they ask about a house and we tell them that it's not on the market, they're perplexed. That's why Zillow is not tied to our multiple listing service in the same way that our websites are. And so therefore, you want to search on a site that's actually directly linked to live, good, reliable information. But getting back to what we were discussing, which was, you have to help me refresh my memory, sorry.
So folks were wondering if now is a good time to purchase real estate, given...
So what's happened in this pandemic is we've had record number of interest in states, people from states like California and New York and Arizona, high density cities who are wanting to get away from people, get more green space. There's only 700,000 people that live in the state of Alaska, and we stretch from Atlanta, Georgia to San Francisco, California, when you overlay Alaska from end to end, including the Aleutian Chain. So we're still quite a large space. And so because of that, that's helped to fuel the buying market, interestingly enough. It has been incredibly busy this time of year, starting basically from the second week of March, and that continues to now. We've seen multiple offer situations, places going on the market and selling for above the list price, and that's continuing. And interest rates are at an all-time low. So you can buy more house now at the current interest rates. And I know that there is a lot of upward pressure from lending institutions to improve upon that, because of course that's affecting their ability to be profitable. And so at some point we're going to see that going up, the interest rate. And so right now, with interest rates being low, with us being a clean water, a clean air state, those factors really are driving the real estate purchasing market here. So yes, it is an amazing time to find your slice of Alaska and call it home.
That's great news.
Yeah.
That is great news. And you're right, the interest rates are so low. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. Question number 4. How are real estate companies taking precautions to protect potential buyers during the pandemic?
That's an excellent question, because one of the things that's happened with this new normal is we have increased scrutiny. So we have more disclosures. You have disclosures that'll be filled out from the seller when they're selling a property, instructing us how we are to show their property. It's, pretty much standard protocol that when you go into a house, whether it's occupied or not, you're going to be wearing masks, or you're either going to also have gloves, or you're going to have sanitary wipes that you're going to use to wipe down every surface that you potentially touch or door that you open. We're actually asking people to turn the lights on and leave the doors open inside the house, so there's as little interaction with things as possible that belong to the seller. We're asking buyers when they go and look at a house to fill out a disclosure that says that they've been in the state for the last 14 days, that they have not shown any of the symptoms related to COVID. And this is all for everyone's protection. And we've had a period where we couldn't show houses, actually. Everything had to be done virtually, and that's an option for homeowners even until this day if they still feel not comfortable about having people in their house. All of the photographers that we work with now do 360 tours, and that's an option. We can do a virtual walkthrough. You can often have your agent, if you're not available, do the walkthrough for you on their phone. That's been very helpful. And it's become more acceptable to literally purchase the house that you've never been in because of the situation with COVID. So, yeah.
Got you. So several options available.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So this is our last question. And then what I will do is open it up. And, if you want to share anything else, including how folks can get in contact with you and information about your business.
Sure.
So the last question is, how can someone who lives outside Alaska find a good realtor to work with?
Well, that's an easy one for me. My website, michael.alaska.
I love it.
And, I also have a team of colleagues. There's about 14 of us that work as buyer specialists and listing specialists. If I am not available to meet with you, we have any number of individuals that I think might be a great fit for you, whether it's personality-wise or what you want to accomplish goal-wise, and I can always refer you to a great agent with RMG Real Estate Network. And then, additionally, one of the things I love about the alaskahomesearch.com or michael.alaskahomesearch.com site is that you can have as many different kinds of searches as you want. You can have a search just for homes in southern Anchorage and then another search for homes in Wasilla. And you can see what the market looks like in both of those areas and then decide which area you would ultimately like to be in based on where the inventory levels are. I get to see those things as you do them. So if you see a property and you like it, I'll get to know that that you liked it, and I can reach out to you and say, hey, do you want to go and look at this property, or should I do a tour for you if you're out of state? So that's super important. And then the other thing I will say about choosing an agent to represent your interests, a lot of states, it's normal for the buyer to work directly with the listing agent. We have a state where it's normal for the buyer to have their own representative and the seller has their own representative.
Oh.
There's usually no cost to the buyer to have their own representation, and that's important, especially when you're out of state and you're looking for homes in this state and you want to negotiate contracts. You want someone that's acting on your behalf and in your best interest, not just in the best interest of the seller. So I'll share that with people as well. So have a lot of confidence that when you get ready to, or when you're thinking about the buying process, you should have your own representation. And if you don't have an understanding of who the local lenders are, we are excellent at being able to provide you with those referral sources when the time comes, if you're not paying cash for a home. Yeah.
Perfect. Wow. Well, I tell you what, we got through those questions a lot faster than I thought we would. And so what I would like to do is just open it up if you want to share any additional information about yourself or about your real estate company. And of course, we would like to know how we can get in touch with you. Do you have an Instagram page? Do you have whatever social medias you have that we can get our hands on? If you could share that.
Sure, I absolutely can. One of the things I will say about the 16 years that I've lived here is that Alaska as a state has been singularly unique for me in that I feel the barriers to success are very, very achievable. You can come here and pretty much on your own merit do whatever it is you would like to do. People here don't tend to be overly critical of you based on your socioeconomic status or what ethnic background you are or any of those other factors. If you come here and you do what you say you're going to do, and if you're willing to work at it, you can accomplish any level of success that you would like to achieve here. And I think that's been one of the most amazing experiences that I've had. I mean, I've had opportunities to work out next to our governor, and I've been invited to participate in some of the economic initiatives through our own mayor. And a lot of times those individuals, you know, in larger cities may not be easily accessible. Here, it's completely possible.
Right.
So I think that in terms of what this city can afford you from an opportunity standpoint, whether you're looking to start a new business, whether you're looking to buy an existing business, or whether you're coming up for some other company because you're helping them accomplish whatever their objectives are, it's a great place to be. And so Alaska, also interestingly enough, is the #1 place when the military recruits that come up here, when they get out of the military, they choose to stay here or they come back here. So there's a lot of retired military that have continued to call Alaska home. And the other thing I think I should share is that if you are a gun owner, this is definitely a gun owner's paradise. And if you have a more liberal mindset, we are definitely a state that is, you do your thing, I'll do my thing. And we may not agree, but we're going to enjoy this beautiful state together because there's just so much opportunity to pursue whatever it is that's important to you here. So I think those are a myriad of things that make this place a great place to call home.
Absolutely. You know, I always say that we have the best of both worlds. We have the modern aspects, and then you can drive maybe 15, however far out you want to drive, and go and explore in the wilderness, go fishing, camping, hiking, all of that good stuff. It's all in close proximity, especially if you live in Anchorage and Eagle River and Wasilla.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You can, on your weekend, experience what people only dream to experience their entire life, you know. And that's a beautiful thing to experience and to have when you call Alaska home. You know, and then also, in order to get in touch with me, if you have other questions or you want to ask about other aspects of the real estate market here, you can reach me a number of ways. You can reach me directly on my cell phone at 907-727-6291. I am Michael at rmgrealestate.com via email. You can find me at Michael King, RMG Real Estate Network on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram and on Twitter. You can find me at both of those places through my other moniker, which is Style Lab Alaska. If you type that in into either of those, Instagram or Twitter, you'll find me. So yeah. But mostly people find me just by calling me, texting me, and through Facebook. So I'm available on all those media platforms.
And I will be sure to list all of your contact details in the description box.
Awesome. Awesome. Wow. Yeah.
This was so awesome. So again, Michael, thank you so much for taking the time to lend your expertise, your wisdom.
Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here. And yeah, I'm happy to help whether you have a residential or a commercial need because I operate in both of those areas. So yeah.
Oh, that's right. Commercial and residential.
Yeah, right on.
Amazing. All right. Well, thank you so much, Michael. And thank you for tuning in to this video. If you enjoyed watching the video, please give it a thumbs up. Comment, subscribe, share the video, reach out to Michael with all of your questions, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.